Most men have no clue that just one little sentence can totally flip the way a woman thinks about them after they say goodbye. It is not because the words are super smooth or because they sound like something from a movie. It is because that sentence touches a feeling deep inside her that most men never even notice is there. Once that happens, she keeps playing that moment over and over in her mind, even long after you have left. The big problem today is that most guys talk to women in a way that feels like a robot or a script. It feels plain, easy to guess, and it doesn't stick to the heart. They spend way too much time worrying about how they look and not enough time worrying about how they make her feel. That is why some men get a quick look for a second, but other men stay in a woman's thoughts for days without even trying that hard. Hello, friend, and welcome back to our space. We are a group of caring experts, and here we talk about how women think, how feelings work, how to build a real bond, and all those quiet emotional buttons that most men never learn to find. If you are new to our circle, please make sure you join us and stay updated, because these talks will completely change how you see love and how you speak to others. Now let's keep going, because what I am going to explain today is something most men go their whole lives without ever really getting. A lot of men think that being liked is all about being brave, looking handsome, having a big bank account, or saying the perfect cool line. But the way our minds work shows that how you touch a person's feelings matters way more than anything else. Women remember how a man makes them feel inside for a much longer time than they remember the exact words he spoke. This is where most men stumble without even knowing it. They give women the same boring praise that every other guy gives. They say things like, "You are beautiful," or "You have a nice smile," or "Your eyes are pretty." Now let's be fair, those are nice things to say. But the problem is that women hear them all day long. There is no real heart behind them anymore. They just float through her mind and then they are gone because there is nothing special or personal about them. But the very second a nice word feels real, specific, and a bit of a surprise, something in the brain shifts. Her mind takes a pause. She starts feeling like you are actually seeing who she is inside, not just looking at her like a picture on a wall. And that makes her very curious. Women are naturally very good at picking up on feelings when people talk. They notice the sound of your voice, the timing, why you are saying it, and the quiet energy behind your words. That is why two men can say almost the same thing, but one is forgotten in a minute, while the other stays in her mind all through the night. The secret is being emotionally present. Today, I am going to walk you through 3 kinds of nice things to say that touch the heart in a totally different way. They talk to the deep parts of who a woman is, instead of just the surface. Before we go further, please leave a little note below and tell me what part of the world you're in. I truly love seeing people from all over coming together for these talks. The first thing you can say is very strong because it makes a woman feel like you see her mind and her heart, not just her face. Honestly, this is where you can stand out from every other guy she meets. The sentence is this: "I really like the way your mind works." It is simple. It is calm. But it is very powerful when you mean it with all your heart. Most men would never think a sentence like this would matter because they think liking someone is all about the physical stuff. But women handle feelings very differently. A woman already knows when she looks good. She hears it on her phone, from people on the street, at her job, and from guys trying to win her over. After a while, those words feel like white noise. But when a man notices how she thinks, how she sees a problem, her funny side, her creative ideas, or how she views the world, it creates a whole different spark. Suddenly, she feels understood. And honestly, that feeling is very rare. Most people look at women without really paying attention to the person inside. That is why being seen like this feels so good. It touches her soul. Here is something many men miss. Women remember the men who make them think about themselves in a new way. When you truly like the way her mind works, her brain starts replaying your talks. She wonders, what did he see in me? Why did he say that? What part of my thoughts stood out to him? That curiosity makes her think of you over and over. It is not a big dramatic movie scene. It is just very personal. This is why being specific matters. Generic talk fades, but noticing the small, real things stays forever. Another reason this works is that it feels safe. You aren't being pushy or trying too hard to be cool. You are just noticing something real that most people miss. That kind of care puts you in a different league. But remember, this only works if you are being 100% real. Women are very good at feeling if someone is being fake. If it sounds like a line you practiced in the mirror, it won't work. Being there in the moment matters more than a script. When you really listen, pay attention to the small things and speak with a calm heart. Your words have weight. This is what many women are secretly looking for, not just a guy to tell them they are pretty, but a man who actually sees who they are. The second thing to say goes even deeper into the heart. It touches something many women think about but don't talk about. The sentence is, "There is something about your energy that stays with me." To a lot of guys, this might sound a bit vague or fuzzy, but in the mind of a woman, this can stick around for a very long time. It's about the feeling she leaves behind, not just her looks. Many women spend a lot of time wondering if they matter to people. Not just if they are pretty, but if people enjoy being around them, if they are special, if their presence means something. This sentence hits that spot perfectly. You aren't talking about her clothes or her body. You are talking about the invisible feeling she has. It makes her feel like she has a natural power that touched you without her even trying. Once a woman feels like she is important to a man's feelings, the bond grows very fast. This sentence also creates a bit of a mystery. She starts wondering, what part of my energy stayed with him? What did I do? What was that moment? This keeps the talk alive in her head even when she is alone. Attraction grows when someone thinks about you while you aren't there. Women replay the sound of your voice, the way you looked at her, and the tiny details. When you say something that makes her replay those moments, you become memorable. It's about impact. Also, this works because it's easy. You aren't over-explaining or being loud. You are just stating a quiet truth. That calm way of talking is very attractive. In a world where everyone is loud and trying to get attention, a man who is steady and calm stands out like a lighthouse. Most people talk because they are nervous or want to prove something. But when a man speaks slowly and truly, women feel safe. That safety lets the heart open up. Women are often more moved by how a man makes them feel than by how fancy his car is or how much money he has. A man who makes a woman feel seen, calm, and understood will stay in her heart much longer than a guy who just tries to look cool. Emotional impact is what turns a quick chat into a real connection. The third thing you can say is the deepest one of all. It creates a feeling that many women really want in a relationship, but don't often find. The sentence is, "I feel calmer when I talk to you." Now, let's be real. Most guys would never say this because they think they have to be tough or emotionless all the time. They think showing a little feeling makes them look weak. But the truth is the opposite. When you are honest about your feelings in a calm way, it builds trust. And trust is the biggest building block of love. When you tell her she brings peace into your life, you are saying something huge. You are telling her that she changes your inner world for the better. That is so meaningful. Most women know when a guy thinks they are hot, but very few guys say they appreciate the peace a woman brings. This touches a woman deeply because women like to connect through being there for each other. A woman wants to feel like her vibe brings comfort and balance. When you say you feel settled around her, she feels valuable in a whole new way. You aren't just a guy who likes her face. You are a man who finds her soul important. This is where real closeness starts. It doesn't come from just flirting. It comes from moving each other's hearts. This is why some talks stay with a woman for days. Not because the guy was a comedian, but because he made her feel safe. It sounds like a real human talking, not a guy doing a performance. But here's the catch. You have to say it from a place of strength. If you say it because you are acting like a lost puppy, it won't work. It has to come from a man who is already steady, but appreciates the extra peace she brings. When you say it calmly and with confidence, it feels like a warm hug. Women are drawn to men who make them feel safe instead of stressed. Peace builds a bond way better than a show ever will. Now, you have to understand the most important part. The words themselves aren't the magic trick. It is the heart behind the words. This is where a lot of guys get it wrong. They hear these sentences and try to use them like a cheat code in a video game. They say them like a machine to every girl they meet. The moment you do that, the magic dies. Women can feel when a guy is just trying a move. They can tell when you are just saying something to get a reaction. Once it feels like an act, the attraction goes away. Being there in the moment is more important than the words. When you notice something real, it feels different. It feels believable. Women pay attention to the things you don't even think about, your eyes, your voice, if you are relaxed. The energy around your words is louder than the words themselves. That is why two guys can say the exact same thing, but one wins her heart and the other doesn't. One is looking for a gold star. The other is just being a real man. Most men don't get that women aren't usually looking for the guy who tries the hardest. They want the guy who is centered and knows who he is. A man who is calm and listens is so much better than a man who is always chasing after them. You can't rush a real bond. You can't force deep feelings by saying too many nice things too fast. If you give too much praise too quickly, it feels like a lot of pressure. But when you say the right thing at the right time because you mean it, it becomes a treasure. It makes her feel like you really took the time to see her. Most dating is very shallow. People just joke around and move on. But when a woman feels like someone really sees her, she won't forget it. Trust grows, and trust is what makes her think of you when she is lying in bed at night. The goal is not to use lines. The goal is to become a man who is aware enough to speak with heart. Real connection lasts way longer than a performance. Attraction often grows quietly in the shadows before it comes out into the light. Many women don't say how they feel right away. Instead, they let it grow by thinking about it. When she keeps thinking about your talk, her bond to you grows on its own. She thinks about how you looked at her, the peace she felt, and how she felt about herself when she was with you. Women are very reflective. They go back to those feelings in their minds, especially if the feeling was different from the usual noise of the world. A guy who puts on a big show might be fun for a minute, but a guy who leaves a real feeling in her heart is the one who stays. There is a huge gap between being excited for a moment and being a lasting memory. Excitement goes away, but a real heart-to-heart feeling stays. This is why steady men do so well. They aren't trying to prove they are the best. They are just there. They listen. They talk with a purpose. They make a woman feel understood instead of pushed. Women are always checking to see if they are safe with you. Not just safe from harm, but safe to be themselves. Can she relax? Can she talk without being judged? Can she be soft without needing to protect herself? These are the real questions. Love grows when you have both a little spark and a lot of comfort. Too much pressure makes people run away. Too much distance makes them forget. But calm confidence makes them stay. This is why women like men who are stable. And this is where many men accidentally break the bond. They get too worried, too clingy, or too busy trying to win. But the bond gets stronger when a woman feels like your attention is a gift, not a demand. When your words and your energy match, she trusts you more. And once she trusts you, everything feels natural. Another thing to know is that women remember the atmosphere you create. She might forget the words, but she will remember if she felt happy or calm or special while she was sitting with you. This is why your presence is so important. Many men mess this up by overthinking. They try so hard to be perfect that they get stiff and nervous. Women can feel that tension. Even if she can't explain it, she knows when a guy is looking for her to tell him he's doing a good job. That pressure kills the mood. A man who feels calm makes her feel calm. A man who is desperate makes her feel like she needs to leave. This is why confident men seem to have a magnetic power. They are just comfortable being themselves. That comfort lets her lower her guard. Another thing is silence. Not the kind of silence that feels weird, but the kind that feels peaceful. Most men are scared of a pause in the talk. They think they have to be an entertainer. But a real man can let a conversation breathe. When you speak slowly, your words have more heart. Your praise feels more real because it wasn't rushed. Women notice this. Calmness usually means you are confident in who you are. One man creates a real experience while the other just makes a lot of noise. Women don't usually dream about the loudest guy. They dream about the man who made them feel safe, curious, and seen. That feeling builds a memory, and memory builds love. Also, being real is everything. The second she feels like you are playing a game or using a trick, her trust is gone. But when you are honest and steady, things go smoothly because she feels safe enough to be open. Deep attraction starts when a woman feels like she can show you her real self. What women really want is a man who is steady, not a guy who says the right thing once, but a guy whose energy is always real and honest. This is why some men are never forgotten. It's not about their car or their muscles. It's because being near them feels like home. Women relax around men who aren't trying to force anything. Most men think they have to do a lot to get a woman to like them, but doing too much often pushes her away. If you are always fishing for a compliment or a yes, it feels shaky. But when a man is calm and listens, she sees him as a rock. He feels safe and present. This changes how she thinks about him when he's gone. You don't need to fill every second with talking. You don't need to give 100 compliments. Many women get more interested when a man is relaxed enough to just be there. Being calm is a sign of being a strong person. It makes her feel like she can stop working so hard and just be herself. That is a huge gift. Also, being the same way every day matters. A man who is nice one day but a mess, the next is hard to trust. But a man who is always calm and balanced makes a woman feel secure. Security is what makes a bond last after the first spark. Women remember how you made them feel more than anything else. They want to be understood without being pushed. It is a very delicate balance. Some guys are too distant, while others are too much too soon. The men who stick in the mind are the ones who let things happen naturally. When you really pay attention, you see the small things. You see what makes her happy. You see how she acts when she's comfortable. When you show her that you noticed those tiny things, she feels special. She feels like you are talking to her, the person, not just her looks. Most dating feels very fake, but a real talk feels like water in a desert. This is why being aware of feelings matters. It builds trust, and trust lets the guard come down. Then, curiosity starts to grow. This is where many guys get in a hurry and mess up. They want everything right now. But attraction is better when it has time to grow. A steady man is more attractive over time because he doesn't change with the wind. His words have meaning. His presence is calm. Women remember that energy much longer than a loud show. At the end of the day, it's about making a woman feel understood, safe, and important. When you do that, you aren't just another guy she met once. You become someone she thinks about when the world gets quiet. This isn't about lines. It is about becoming the kind of man whose words have weight because he is real. Women are moved by a man who truly sees them. A grounded man speaks because he has something to say, not just to hear himself talk. He listens with his whole heart. He notices the little details that others miss. When he says something nice, it feels like it belongs to her and only her. Women feel that in their souls. That is why some men stay in her heart without even trying to be the center of attention. Their energy is calm and safe. She doesn't feel like she's being hunted or pushed. She feels like she can just breathe. This feeling is so rare that it leaves a mark. Women often fall for the way they feel when they are with you. If you make her feel valued and calm, she will want to be near you. That feeling is what makes her think of you later. Looks might get a person to look your way, but who you are is what makes them stay. None of this should ever be a game. Don't be fake or try to be someone you aren't. The goal is to be a man who is aware and kind. Real attraction grows when both people feel safe enough to be their true selves. Once you understand this, you stop chasing. You stop trying to prove yourself. You just focus on being present and real. And that is exactly when the magic starts to happen on its own. If you have stayed with me this long, please write a comment saying, "I stayed until the end." I really want to know who is part of this full conversation. Before you go, please show us some love by liking this, joining our group, and keeping up with us. We will be sharing more every week about how people connect and the quiet things that make life and love so much better. We are so glad you are here with us.